Hello everybody and welcome to Dryer Days Art Studio. I'm Catherine and I'm so happy to have you here. This is the piece that I will be working on in this video. I named it Honeycomb. It is on a 12 by 24 inch board. The board is about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick, so it's nice and thin. I did use Celestial Glass in this piece, which you can find a link in the description to their website, as well as all of the other products and tools that I use in this. I use a selection of Just For You Online UK glitters, which I also have my own store supplying those if you would like to check those out. So let's get right into the video. I prepped my board first with 2 coats of white gesso and sanded it down, and then added these epoxy sculpt lines. If you'd like to see how I lay down epoxy sculpt, I will put a link in the description, and you can also click the lowercase I in the upper right hand corner to be taken to that video. I like to lay down the epoxy sculpt. It creates little barriers for me for my resin so that I can keep colors kind of in one section separated from each other so they're not running into each other as much. I have found that really, really handy. I don't use yellow hardly at all in my pieces, but I had gotten this amber colored Celestial Fire Glass, and I'll do that a lot. I'll pick out one additive or product that I know I want to use in the piece, and I'll kind of form the piece around it. And the amber colored Fire Glass was just so beautiful, and you'll see in this piece, depending on the background of the color that you're laying it on top of, it will change color. It's just gorgeous. So I decided I wanted this really warm yellow, orange, deep browns, and that I wanted it to be inspired sort of by this like honeycomb look. On the lines here, I'm just adding a little bit of gold metallic paint. I do that sometimes on some of the barriers, and that gives you added little extra lines in your piece too as you go. And these are the glitters I'm going to be using. These are the gold Rebel Glitter Flakes, the fine champagne gold, and the brown topaz Rebel Glitter. If you're new to my channel, I encourage you to check out some of my other videos where I will go in more in depth as far as what I'm doing, my technique and all that. This video is a little bit of a shorter one. I have been just working on my e-course so hard the last couple of months, and it was taking up a lot of my time, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of other work done, like these sort of pieces where I could make YouTube videos, and I missed it. This felt so good to sit down and work on a piece and make a YouTube video for you all. But that e-course is available now. I'll put a link to that in my video description as well. And that is a total beginner's guide to resin. So if you're watching this video because you're a newbie, you want to get into resin art, you're not sure how to get started, that e-course might be perfect for you. I have it priced at just $50, which I think is pretty low for e-courses. I've seen other ones priced pretty high. And I wanted to make it affordable for people. And it's a pretty long e-course. I go into a lot of depth about resin, proper procedures with mixing resin, resin safety, all that good stuff. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description. I also have to give a shout out to my supporters. I have a couple new ones in August this month. Diana, Danielle, and Amanda, thank you so much for your contributions to my channel and my artwork. And if you're interested in becoming a patron or supporting me on PayPal, you can also find more links in the video description. Patrons do get rewards depending on what tier they sign up for, and PayPal donations will qualify you for some of those rewards too, depending on the monetary amount. And that just helps for me to keep being able to make these videos for you guys. And this has become sort of a full-time job for me, honestly. And yeah, it's been so much fun. It's been an awesome ride, and I'm so glad now too that I can bring you these Just For You Online UK glitters, that I'm your US stockist for that. I'm so thrilled to be doing that for you all. And if you have any questions about the glitters, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am on Instagram at Dryer Days, so you can find me over there too, and send me a DM if you have any questions. I'm using some Lorez Angel White here. This is some of my favorite epoxy paste to use with my resin. And I typically will start off adding a little bit of clear in my pieces. I like to cover glitter that I have laid down or stones just to make sure they're nice and secure. So I give them a little sprinkle of the clear. The clear can also act as a little barrier as well. So here as I put down the yellow, you'll see as it intermingles with that clear, you get different effects. Sometimes you can get a marbling look. It depends on the products you're using too, but I do like to incorporate that clear, as I'm doing here, as I lay down the colored resin. I will also use a canary yellow epoxy pigment from Lorez as well. And I get these products from Laura's Art Corner, which again, you can find a link to her store in the video description. I love the Angel White. I use it in almost every single piece I do. It's my favorite. While I'm working here, I'll explain some of the things I have above there. So I also have a chocolate gold metallic mica pigment up there from Lorez Expressions. The little gold jar up there is some gold metallic. Now this is a new product from Just For You Online UK. They have a gold metallic and a silver metallic. You get them in a set. I do have them in my store, www.dryerdaysartstudio.com. They're beautiful. I will put them in later in this piece. I'll make sure I mention when I do it. And then up there are the same glitters that I used before that I was gluing down. That fine gold glitter, the brown topaz rebel glitter, and then off camera I do have the gold rebel glitter flakes. I'm also using a bronze pigment by Artisan Pigments. And then in the Tupperware container up there to the upper left is the Celestial Fireglass in amber. Using my heat gun here to break up my lines a little bit, give me a little bit of effects. I am using Stone Coat art resin in this video, and that does give me a little bit of a different effect with the Lorez epoxy paste as opposed to like a Promarine or a different resin. So you have to kind of get familiar with your resins. I discussed that in the e-course as well, that different resins will do different things for you depending on what kind of work you're looking to do. And also it will interact differently with different additives. And it's important to know that when you go into a piece so that you don't have any little surprises along the way. I apologize too for my head being in the shot a lot of times here. Again, I hadn't done a whole lot of YouTube filming in a while, and I had my camera set up a little bit differently and didn't realize my head was in the shot most of the time. So I do apologize for that. I felt a little out of my element here. It was like riding a bike, but I did have to get a grasp of it a little bit. And these colors that I'm putting in now are the colors that I used in the beginning when I prepped my board. And definitely want to come in with your torch and pop any bubbles. I do feel the torch gives better results in popping the bubbles than the heat gun does. This is the bronze mica pigment from Artisan Pigments. It's just gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful brown. And this is more of that darker brown that I used in the beginning when I was prepping my board. It gives some beautiful depth to this piece. Just trying to get my entire board covered with resin. For this size of board, they recommend about 10 ounces of resin. Because I do have the tape up and I'm trying to create a barrier, I did mix a little bit more than that. I mixed about 11.5. This is resin that I mixed with my glitter, so that's the gold glitter and resin, and the one I did before that was the brown topaz rebel glitter. And then I add a little bit of clear. And that helps it just kind of spread out a little bit, gives you different effects. Now this, as I mentioned, is that gold metallic. Now you could come in as I'm doing here and lay it down in ribbons like this. I do use my heat gun and break up these lines a little bit, so it does get more of a marbled or a blended effect. But you could at the end just come and lay this down just like this and it would stay pretty well put. These pigments are gorgeous. I love working with golds. I love working with silvers, and these are beautiful. This was my first time using them and I adore them. And now applying that glass. Sometimes I do this before. If you're familiar with my channel at all, I will kind of get the bigger stones in first But I decided this time I wanted to try putting them right in the tacky resin. And I like doing it this way. I think you could do it either way. So you could do this in your prep work stage, or you could do it now. These are larger chunks of glass. So to the upper left there, you can see I have another little container with glass in it. I did take some of these larger stones and I broke them up. Please be careful if you're going to try breaking up any glass chunks. I did wear a protective eyewear. I had my arms covered and I was in my garage. I used a large box that I had this in, so it kept all of the shards and everything contained, and I still swept up my work area. So just be very, very careful if you're going to try to break any of these up further. So now I'm just using the smaller shards and going around the outer edges, almost blending it into the rest of the piece. So you don't just have these really, really big chunks in there and then nothing. It gives a nice blended appearance into the rest of the piece. And I'll go around the rest of the piece and add in the amber where I want. I do put it in the darker areas too, and you'll see it gives a totally different look when it's in those dark brown areas, which is really nice because then you can really play around with this stuff and get many, many different looks. Hours I decided to add more stones and I wanted to do a second layer. So as you saw there, I put down a little bit of clear resin and then put those amber stones on top. And you can see how they look really different when they're not on the yellow and they're on the brown. I do a second layer over this entire piece. There is that gold again in there. I wanted to put that right up against my stones. It looks just beautiful in this piece, really. I mean, the gold is just beautiful. I'm going to try to use the silver this week and do another video for you all. And using some markers to create a little bit more definition, a few more lines. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do lines on this piece or not, but I said, what the heck, went in, gave it a little bit more dimension. I just added a few little lines in here. I do use Uni Posca markers, which I'll have them in the description. I am using a gold gilding paint that I found at Michael's. And yeah, here it is. I'm so happy with it. Again, this was really out of my normal realm of color choice. I don't ever usually go for yellow, but I just think it turned out beautifully. The glass is really, really nice. So I recommend you check out Celestial Fire Glass. They're on Instagram as well. And of course, if you need any Just For You Online UK glitters and you're in the US, please come over to my store, www.dryerdaysartstudio.com, to find some of that. Here's more of a close-up. You can see more of that gold metallic in there, more of the glitter. Just lovely. Come find me on Instagram as well at Dryer Days, and please consider becoming a patron or supporting me on PayPal. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And until next time, everybody, keep on pouring.